People, Deluded, I'm back again. Soho Square Settings, your favourite central London YouTuber weirdo who stares in front of a camera and makes videos. Every time I do this in public, people look at you like a madman. And in terms of my own social development in YouTube, I must say, mate, you kind of used to freak me out because naturally you don't want to be looking weird in public, but now I don't give a crap. So I'd like to say hello to everybody looking at me on this camera. But moving forward, Deluded Nation, DG Nation, let me move this, I have something to rest my hand on. But a couple things to speak about, really and truly. Nothing really, but we might as well discuss them. Now, obviously, Arteta on the face of it, 1 win in 4 games. But I think I speak for most Arsenal fans when I say we're not getting ahead of ourselves with Arteta. But regardless of the results, we're encouraged. Like against Chelsea, don't get me wrong, there's things we could have done better, issues we need to do better in, but there were some positives in that game. United, obviously the second half was a bit nervy, but there was numerous positives. When we've drawn to Bournemouth away from home, or drawn against Crystal Palace, or drawn against Everton, well, no, Everton weren't really his, but it was more Lundberg's. But apart from Everton, you get the point. There's been something to not scream and shout about encouragement. I think I speak for most Arsenal fans when I say all they wanted was some encouragement. They wanted an ideology with a manager they could buy into. They wanted a manager that could galvanise the squad and give them, and also galvanise them. Because listen, Arsenal are not going to get top 4 this season. We're not going to do anything in terms of Premier League trophies in the short to medium term future. I hope that's not the case, but we're not going to. So at least we just want to be galvanised. We just want to be able to wake up on the weekend or whenever Arsenal are playing and have something to buy into. And obviously Arteta, there's a long way to go. He'll have good moments where he goes undefeated. There'll be trouble moments. There'll be times where we might even question his credentials. But right now, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Arteta because he's talking the talk and he looks like he's winning it. Obviously we didn't win against Crystal Palace. On the face of it, there's no way around it. We dropped 2 points and there's really no positives to take, but I would say one positive is we've seen us go down to 10 men and we don't even get a point in that game. I'm not looking for positives where there is, and I still think game management can improve, specifically how we started that second half. That 10-15 minute passage in which they got their equaliser, we need to start and end games in the same fashion. So game management still needs to be there, but I'm seeing more tactical fouls from us. I'm seeing more of a willingness to see out the game, more maturity, and it was just a better performance going down to 10 men than I've seen with Arsenal. We've got a long way to go. The main thing is that we need to keep our intensity levels up from the first minute to the 90th, which is going to be hard without Arteta potentially bringing in players that can do that of a standard. Obviously, he's had a decent amount of time now to work with the boys, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much time. So all we're hoping from, or at least for me anyways, this season, just hoping that the fitness levels for the players that are going to be here, we can get that on point. The high energy, high demanding, we can kind of get that on point, because we all know the fixture list, especially in the festive periods, is quite, the games are thick and fast. So in a year from now, if we're able to do what Arteta fully requires, then we're in good stead. But right now, there's still teething issues with that. Some comments in relation to Arteta. Arteta said, a lot of the things I saw against Crystal Palace show we have made another positive step forward, 100%. They are taking all ideas on board and they are willing to do it. You could see how they were fighting and how they were going about their jobs and the intensity they were playing with. Asked again, he said, I asked them to go 100 miles per hour to chase the ball, to be aggressive when we didn't have it, to win it back as quickly as possible, and they tried to do that. And that can actually be backed up by a statistic I think I found, people. If you give me a second, I can find it for you. I'm sure I printed it off. Where is it? In terms of being aggressive and winning the ball back, of course it doesn't directly quantify it, but Crystal Palace only had 6 efforts on our goal, and that actually is their 6 attempts they had on Arsenal's goal is the fewest Arsenal have allowed in a Premier League game this season. So we know our players are informed defensively, and we need to really say if we've improved defensively, we need to do this for a substantial moment of time, not just 4 games, because right now, obviously, Emre's just come back into the position. He's just got Arteta's just got the job off Emre. Everything's feel good, and we saw this under Emre. It's about, are we still able to do this a year from now? Right, we both know, or I say both, we all know Socrates and David Luiz are potentially not centre-halves you can be galvanised by, not centre-halves you necessarily believe in long term. But in terms of their current form, right now they're undroppable. Right now there's not a case to not have either in the team. And for someone like Socrates, who's not a decent, who gets caught out in terms of ball playing quite a lot, I personally think Arteta will bin him in the summer. But he's got confidence, and the manager's giving him confidence, and he's reacting. David Luiz is a leader. We know David Luiz is a bit of a loose cannon, but there's been some maturity around him, and Arteta seems to kind of making him relish the leadership aspects within him. And what I'm liking, especially, I've said it in another video, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, it's more so with the fullbacks, Kolasinac and obviously Maitland-Niles. If you was to list their strengths, none of them necessarily are defensively. Under Arteta so far, you could say they've been good 1v1. I like how you don't really see them in scenarios where their defensive errors are highlighted, but also when they are put in situations where they have to defend, both players seem more confident. So he's working with existing players and improving them, something Arteta has to do, which Emre failed to do. And I'm liking it. And in terms of how we're playing football, people, of course the way we're playing isn't the best. But if we're going to use that goal as a blueprint in terms of Ozil making space for himself, David Luiz forward pass, Lacazette running off, Aubameyang on the shoulder, I think that goal wasn't a fluke like under Emre. It was out of design, people. It was something we worked on the training ground, and we ain't scored goals like that too many times, but I want that to become the norm, people. I really want that to become the norm. I want that to become something. Yeah, man, that's what obviously we need to improve defensively first and foremost. How we defend is what makes the difference and is what's going to make the difference. But to see Aubameyang score, which I'll cap as an Aubameyang goal, a real Aubameyang goal, where he's onto things rather than on the peripheral, he's waiting for it into feet, he's already played it into the space. That's what we need to do, people, and I'm really impressed with what we saw, man, in that regards. I do believe we probably need two centre-halves. Saliba comes in, I think we need another centre-half, potentially more experienced with a lesser profile. If we can get someone, I don't know, 26, lesser profile but competent, because I mean, if Socrates and David Luiz carry on, then we've got nothing to say, people. But when they don't, we're going to see their deficiencies. And Socrates and Luiz, if we really scrutinise Arsenal's team, you could say our spine needs rebuilding anyways. With Torreira, with Leno and the young players in their early teens to mid-20s, we've got the core. But if you look at what I'd class as the most important players in that, Socrates and Luiz, your defensive pivot makes the difference. Them two are on the wrong side of 30. Aubameyang is on the wrong side of 30, as good as he is. So there's going to be a need to be rebuilding this in a sense, people. On Aubameyang, Arteta said losing probably the most important player is never nice. We have other players that can play in that position. We'll try to find a way and be as competitive as possible. So that's probably Lacazette or Martinelli going through the middle. I have seen something online today that apparently we're going to try and reduce Aubameyang's ban by obviously appealing. Apparently our main basis of the argument is that obviously VAR is in play, but initially he was given a yellow card, so maybe the ref didn't, from what I basically see online, because he gave him a yellow, VAR is there to ratify things. It wasn't a yellow, it was a red card challenge, although I didn't see it. But apparently the main basis of the argument, which the Daily Mail said, is because he was handed a yellow first time, there wasn't malicious intent, so it could be seen as excessive. For me, I think they've got him banged to rights. He didn't mean to do it, but he did do it. It's a red card challenge, and we just have to deal without Aubameyang away from home. And it's going to be crazy because we have issues in terms of sharing the burden in terms of goal scorers all over the team this season, people. But if you look at away from home, if you look at our goal scorers away from home, Aubameyang has 9, Pepe, Torreira and Martinelli have 1, and 0 is for the rest, people, which is quite scary. You're probably relying on Lacazette. Lacazette has mustered 21 shots away from home in 11 Premier League games, 731 minutes without scoring. Lacazette has scored 1 goal in his last 16 hours and 13 minutes of Premier League football away from home. And even when Lacazette was in form, there was a direct contrast between how much he bags at home and how much he bags away. So we're going to need the likes of Lacazette, Pepe, who's getting more confidence to stand up and be counted, especially in their absence. In fact, the whole team is going to need to stand up to be counted, people. So yeah, man, what I like about Arteta so far is that we're seeing a tenacity in our play. We're seeing consistency in that how we want to play and certain improvements. There's a tenacity, there's an intensity in our play, there's intent when we have the ball, there's a willingness to win it off the ball. And within them 4 games, we might as well, obviously the 5th game is at the weekend against Sheffield, we can more or less see how he wants to play. There's a great emphasis on our fullbacks, but it's completely different from Emre in that the fullbacks are a supporting feature and not the main outlet in terms of goals. You can already see our midfielders helping out in terms of wide play when our fullbacks go. Our midfielders in particular, Xhaka, cover the space. Like I said, there's a willingness to win the ball as quickly and as high up the pitch as possible. So this is for the 4, let's say 5 with Sheffield, we're going to see win, lose or draw the same thing. I think it's enough to conclude Arteta is the man to work forward with at this moment in time, but he must be backed, because right now we can't do anything in Jan, but he's going to need to be given some resources to work with people. It's just simply not going to happen for him. To wrap it up, I've seen I can't remember his name. Is it Dangote? I can't remember, the Nigerian businessman. He's been linked with buying Arsenal again. Now I hope to God one day he does buy this club, because I think he wants to win more than the Kroenkes and would back us. But I have seen this rumour all the time, so you can forgive me for not having any intent around it. But he's allegedly the richest man in Africa. He plans to buy Arsenal in 2021. As you lot know, he says it frequently, and he is an Arsenal fan. I know he has some business ventures and oil refinery business dealings and projects to, you know, finish and finalise. And then he's more or less said, I'm gonna go after Arsenal once that's there. I know everything in life has a price, and a businessman like Kroenke surely has a price, but Usmanov, you know, willing to double his money in Arsenal, and he didn't sell it. Again, money is money. If he makes him an offer he can't refuse, then money talks. Everybody has a price. But at the same time, if he's technically not invested any money per se into Arsenal, he's seen shares double, he's seen the money that he didn't invest double. He knows that at any moment this team could be sold and he'll make a profit. He knows, regardless of Arsenal's inconsistencies over the years, most expensive tickets, the apparel, the support, it's a money maker. And listen, it's a shame that it's a football club, because it kills me. But from a business proposition, you can have ill feelings to Kroenke, but you can't knock it, because it is a fantastic business. For me, it's a family heirloom for him and Josh, and we all know it's collateral against his other sporting dealings with, most recently the LA Rams. I see it as an investment, a family heirloom. You've got to remember, Arsenal money is nothing to him because he's got Walmart money and whatnot, but you've got Walmart, you've got Arsenal, you've got LA Rams. It's all part of the dynasty, and people always want to buy into Arsenal and always want to buy into a Premier League club. So he's sitting on an asset regardless. So Arsenal, this is the poorest I've seen Arsenal in my lifetime. No Champions League football, this and that. But if you look at Arsenal's inconsistencies on the field, there'll be consistencies off the field, in that a lot's been made about our commercial dealings, but the commercial dealings are ever rising, and several things like that. So will he sell it? Obviously I have hope, because again, whether this Dangote guy could very much be like Stan Kroenke Fuller. No, I don't have him down as that, but people say a lot of things until they're in the position. He has me down as someone that gives a crap about the club, that obviously football there's a lot of money to be made, but it's largely a loser's game. Would he be prepared to invest significantly? It would be. And if we was to get someone like him, because of how he speaks, you'd have someone bullish about returning Arsenal to the top, in which we'd have Arteta, the manager, to do it, and someone that would invest significantly. Will that happen? Who knows? But for now, people, DG, I'm out.